Hey, what is up, guys? I am back with another article review that most of you probably won't even watch, but it's all good.
No, it ain't all good.
This time we're going over a pre-article. What I mean by that is the article was made before King of Monsters was released, so try to keep that in mind as we go through this article. The idea of Rodan and Mothra teaming up seems like a safe assumption, especially since it's happened before. For better or worse, that didn't happen in King of Monsters, as we all know. Although there was a lot of speculation that it would happen.
Could Rodan and Mothra be
appears
teaming
like
up in
they're
Godzilla
working
King of the
together.
Monsters? I
Review
think
the
so.
footage here.
And this article has a lot of interesting speculation, so that's why I wanted to cover it. You're like, why are you doing a pre-article? Well, it's pretty interesting, so let's check it out real quick. Starts off by saying iconic kaiju Mothra and Rodan may team up with each other in Godzilla King of Monsters. According to the latest trailer, shortly after Garth Edwards' Godzilla reboot was released in 2014, Legendary Pictures and Warner Brothers confirmed plans to expand the film into a new shared universe, later dubbed the Monsterverse. And then it was announced that the movie's sequel, Godzilla King of Monsters, would include Mothra, Rodan, and Ghidorah, three of the most iconic kaiju in Toho's film library. After a number of delays, Michael Dougherty's Godzilla King of the Monsters is going to hit theaters 5 years after the first movie released, in May 2019. And it will not only continue the story that left off with the previous film, but also set the stage for Adam Wingard's highly anticipated monster mashup film, Godzilla vs. Kong, which releases the following summer in 2020. But before Godzilla takes on the King of the Primates, or Skullland, he will first have to face several new kaiju. That's a pretty big assumption there. It's unclear how every kaiju, who are officially known as the Titans in the Monsterverse, factors into Godzilla King of the Monsters, aside from Godzilla taking on Ghidorah at 2 points in the film. However, it seems that the second Godzilla King of Monsters trailer hints that Mothra and Rodan teaming up together, while the first Godzilla King of Monsters trailer that debuted during San Diego's Comic-Con this past summer offered glimpses of the franchise's new Monsters/Titans and aimed to set up the story surrounding the latest Monsterverse installment. The movie's second trailer put all of that aside to give audiences a look at the monster action that awaits them. It was a smart move since Edwards' 2014 movie was criticized for focusing too much on the humans and holding back on Godzilla himself, which is very true. There's a lot of teasing in the 2014 movie, but the build-up was worth it. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore, at least in this forthcoming movie. And among the many details shown in the trailer, there's one scene that may reveal Mothra and Rodan teaming up. Again, this is a lot of assumption. At the 146 mark in the second Godzilla King of the Monsters trailer, viewers can see Rodan's claws trying to grab a hold of a plane. Then a few moments later, viewers can see Mothra flying in what appears to be the same area. The gust and wind would indicate that they are flying together, an observation that appears to be proven when the trailer is paused at 1:48. In just a few frames, Rodan can be seen in the background, flying right next to Mothra. Since they are flying together, it would seem that the two monsters have found a way to team up in Godzilla King of the Monsters, and that wouldn't be something out of the ordinary for them, which is true. They have teamed up in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster and also in Destroy All Monsters. This really isn't that new. So that I could see how that'd be a safe assumption, but again, you're assuming a lot on just a few glimpses in one clip. These trailers, they cut clips together to make it seem like the flow of the continuity has unchanged. And really, it's like two different scenes just mashed into one. We all know that. Everybody that's seen trailers knows this. And everybody's basically seen trailers by now. Unless, of course, you live under a rock. Mothra and Rodan have teamed up before. See, and they go on to mention that they've teamed up before. So, the article continues as, in Toho's movies, Mothra and Rodan haven't always been on the same side. True. Like examples being Godzilla Final Wars. But anyway. But they have worked together before in order to defend the planet against another bigger kaiju such as Ghidorah. Now, the only thing that they haven't mentioned is why they would team up against Godzilla, other than just battling for dominance. Perhaps the most notable team-up between Mothra and Rodan, and Godzilla, for that matter, was in the 1964 movie Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. See? It was the first appearance by Ghidorah, and it saw three of the world's most powerful monsters put aside their differences for a short while in order to defeat Ghidorah. In that film, it was Mothra who approached Godzilla and Rodan at the request of the Shobijin, aka the twin fairies who communicate with Mothra. If you don't know who the Shobijin are, I suggest you watch my Mothra Godzilla discussion video. I'll leave a link in that somewhere around here in this video. Who were in the middle of a battle with each other and attempted to convince them to join her in her fight against Ghidorah. I could skip all this, but I'm just going to go through it. Another time the two monsters teamed up was in the 1968 movie Destroy All Monsters. Whereas Mothra and Rodan fought to protect the Earth in Ghidorah with many other monsters, might I add. The three-headed monster that actually worked together to destroy most of the planet in retaliation for being captured by the United Nations State Committee and imprisoned on an island called Monster... Wait, whoa. What? They actually worked together to destroy most of the planet in retaliation for being captured by the United States Science Committee and imprisoned on an island called Monster... what? Okay, you guys were making sense up until this point. Alright, so that's BS right there. That is not true. They did not join up in a retaliation or to get revenge on the United Nations Science Committee. They were being controlled by Kelox, which is a alien race. I mean, either way, it sounds kind of crazy. I guess they're putting it in a way that sounds more grounded, because what actually happened sounds kind of crazy. As the Kelox were trying to take over the Earth. Okay, so there's their first mistake. That's strike one. So while the Monsterverse is still finding its footing in the world of shared universes, there's a precedent in Toho's old movies for Mothra and Rodan teaming up, albeit temporarily. There's also precedents of Mothra, a lot of past occurrences of Mothra and Rodan being enemies too. Like in Godzilla Final Wars, they were on opposite sides, although the two never faced each other in that movie or came across one another. Mothra only fought with Gigan and Monster X. This is page 2. Are Mothra and Rodan bad in Godzilla 2? It's almost never safe to assume that Mothra is bad, because she's always the guardian, she's always worshipped as a goddess, she's always like the representation of good in the world. So she's always been peaceful and fought for peace and good and blah 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 and all that fun stuff. So to assume that Mothra is bad is already a rough start, but let's see what they got. It's unclear where all the monsters' allegiances lie in the new film, which is very true because there was only glimpses of that. So with Godzilla, Ghidorah, or themselves, but the latest trailer for Godzilla 2 doesn't make the situation any clearer. According to Monarch, every Titan in Godzilla King of the Monsters is vying for supremacy, and they aim to dethrone Godzilla as the planet's alpha predator. I don't think any trailers actually pointed in the direction of dethroning Godzilla. They just said they were all clashing against each other to fight for supremacy. They never mentioned that they were gonna focus on Godzilla and then fight with each other, dethrone Godzilla. Taking that into account, as well as the fact that Rodan is considered an enemy of humanity in Godzilla 2, as proven by the Monarch Sciences website, it stands to reason that Rodan starts off as a villain before turning to Godzilla's side.
Are you sure about that?
And the same might happen for Mothra. I don't remember the trailer showing Rodan turning to Godzilla's side. I didn't see anything like that, where like it showed Rodan bowing to Godzilla. I don't think they showed any of that in the trailer. So, pre-King of Monsters, that's another strong assumption. Although Mothra is typically an ally to Godzilla, that doesn't mean she has to start off that way. If she's fighting against Godzilla, it's almost always Godzilla wrong when she's going against Godzilla, because Mothra's more of a protector than she is an attacker. It would be interesting to see Godzilla win them over in the film. It's also safe to assume that Godzilla King of Monsters won't be an exact adaptation of Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, but will rather take elements from that film and incorporate them into the Monsterverse, which is also true because Michael Dougherty said the main reason why he had those four kaiju in the film was because the first time that Mothra and Rodan teamed up against an enemy was in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, so it's safe to assume that they're taking elements from that film, which it was inspired by that film, yeah, and a few others. One of those elements may surely be the three monsters, Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan, teaming up to take down Ghidorah in the final act, presumably after Godzilla, who is believed to be the king of the monsters by the humans, loses to Ghidorah when the three-headed dragon breaks out from his containment facility in Antarctica and takes on the iconic kaiju, as shown in the second Godzilla King of Monsters trailer. I like how they referenced where this is shown and where they got this evidence. Well, that's always nice. References are nice. Makes things easier to fact check. What this means for Godzilla King of the Monsters. Considering that Godzilla King of the Monsters sees multiple Titans come out of hiding and/or hibernation to seek dominance and to defeat Godzilla.
Are you sure about that?
I know that the trailer's kind of aimed in that direction and kind of made it seem like that was going on, but they never really... I don't know, I still think that's a strong assumption. Maybe it's just because this is before the release, and now that we have the release, we're all like, Now I'm just sitting here with my arms crossed like, nope, got that wrong. No, I'm trying to keep an open mind to this, which I almost always try to keep an open mind to stuff. It would make sense that Mothra and Rodan could potentially team up to take down the supposed King of the Monsters before the film's main opponent, Ghidorah, enters the ring. Well, I have a question. Why would they team up to take down Godzilla? Is there a reason why they would do this other than just supremacy, or just supremacy? Because usually Mothra has to have a more noble reason to go against pretty much any monster. She needs to have a better reason than that. Several movies such as the one tend to either have multiple battles or fake out villains. It's something that's commonly seen in superhero movies and can even be used in Godzilla King of the Monsters. After all, the official synopsis for Godzilla 2 even states that Godzilla collides with Mothra and Rodan at some point in the film.
Are you sure about that?
Was it just with Mothra and Rodan? Are you sure it was with both of them? And not just one? Given what's shown in Godzilla King of the Monsters, it seems likely that Mothra and Rodan will team up together to fight Godzilla at first. Something that may be a rematch of the Titans' ancient fight that was teased in the film's marketing materials, before ultimately aligning with the iconic kaiju to take on Ghidorah in Godzilla King of the Monsters' final act. It doesn't seem reasonable to kill off either Mothra or Rodan before the movie's final battle, but that doesn't mean that one of them can't die at some point in the movie either. Of course, audiences will have to wait and see what happens, but right now, it certainly looks like Godzilla will have his work cut out for him, with Mothra and Rodan potentially teaming up. I like how they're, like, potentially. Like, they're not jumping to the full assumption yet. There are a few questionable details in this article. For the most part, it's pretty good. I could see how a lot of the evidence from the trailers that they reviewed and whatnot and looked over, I could see how it could seem that Rodan and Mothra are teaming up, especially since it's happened before. So this is a pretty well written article, especially compared to the last one, although there's a lot of things questionable. All that aside, so not bad, Screen Rant. Having said all that, there's a few links in the article that I'm probably going to go over here pretty soon. The links in the article are somewhat more questionable than the Rodan and Mothra teaming up article that I just went over. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. This is your boy Soy, signing off.